That's a new one. I've never had that before. Never had. Okay, we're recording now. We'll just cut off the first few seconds. Okay. Hey, team. Welcome back to another incredible episode of the Intentional Agribusiness Leader podcast. This is your host, Mark Jewell. And today I am joined by Mr. Lane Kreiling. He is the sales and support manager at Beck's Hybrids. He's in El Paso, Illinois. When he was introducing himself, I was listening for Texas, but I heard Illinois. I said, there's an El Paso in Illinois, and Lane lives there. I'm sure we'll learn more about it, but welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Was told about this. I got the email. I was like, what is an intentional leadership podcast? I'm like, I don't really know if I'm the
Yeah.
guy for it, but obviously
Well,
somebody thinks I'm the guy for it. So
but
here we
you
go.
got the ag ed background. I'm guessing there's some FFA background with that. You got
Absolutely.
the ag ed and leadership from University of Illinois. So let's find out what they're teaching down there down there in Illinois. So you get the same opening question, Lane, everybody gets, which is, what does it mean for you to be intentional?
Yeah. So I think to be intentional in any kind of a leadership role is one, understanding your employees. Know what motivates them, what doesn't motivate them, know their pitfalls. Um, Also being very emotional and social intelligent, using
Mm,
those skills that you have to understand the perceptions or the point of views that your employees have.
yeah.
I'm on a team that there's 5 of us in total. Uh, Two of them were it's set up a little differently. Two of them report directly to me, but the other two, I give them their daily task every day. They report to somebody different, but I'm still in the management role within them, to making sure that their needs are met and they're able to do their jobs the way they need to do them. But I like to approach it as I I want them to come to work and enjoy being here. But I also am here to get things done.
Yeah.
We're here to get the job done at the end of the day so we can go home and not always have to think about what happened at work the next day or what we need to be doing the next day. Um, I'm a firm believer of making sure that your time away from work is your time.
Mm-hmm.
There
Big
are
time.
busy times of the year. We have to take care of the customer when we need to do it, but it's got to make sure people are enjoying their time away from here because that's what drives them to come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
being intentional is caring for people too. I mean,
What a
I
novel
do.
idea, Lane,
Yeah,
that we could work to live and not live to work.
yeah. I mean, I care about my employees and I care that they show up in the right way. So showing up in the right way to the office or in their truck means that things are good outside of here as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time. I mean, it makes me think a little bit about, Lane, like we have within our body of work here at the Momentum Company. We teach something called a framework called standards and stewardship, and we have to start that by first really defining, what is stewardship. And when we ask people in our classrooms, most of the time they'll say it's, just taking care of what I've been given and, not messing it up, right? Just taking care of things. And and we challenge that. And we use the parable of the talents to kind of highlight, right? In the parable of the talents, you had the first guy got uh, five, five talents, five books of money, if you will. The second guy got two, the last guy got one, and the master goes away, puts them in charge of the money, each according to their ability. And then when he comes back, when it's time for the performance review, and they come in to see how, to report how well they did, the guy that had five, he now had 10. The guy that had two, he now had four. And the guy that originally had one, he was afraid of the master, and he took care of it, right? He didn't lose it, he buried it. But only one guy got fired.
Hmm.
And it was the third guy who all he did was take care of it. And so our definition of stewardship is to multiply that which we've been given, right? To actually make it exponentially better. And God doesn't do anything in nature that doesn't multiply exponentially. You put one seed of corn in the ground, right? And you're getting an exponential return on that one seed of corn, assuming that it produces, right, at a high level. If it's Beck's hybrids, and then we must assume that it's producing at a high level, right? So Anyway, I like to think about it that way, and a lot of what you said kind of speaks to that because now those when we think about like what are the standards for my team? Well, when those standards are informed by stewardship, now
Yeah,
it's now like, so what is my team? What do I want? How do I want my team to show up? What do I want them to look like? Also, as a leader, who are you sending back home to their wife and kids or their husband and kids at the end of the day?
absolutely.
Because I think
And
that's more important than anything.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And it also goes back to like I have to set the example. I mean, I think going back through high school, I went to a very small high school where everyone had to play every sport to be able to put the team together.
yep.
And I had one basketball coach that his biggest thing was leading by example. And he would say that all the time. It's like, if you want this to be something, you have to lead the example of what your people to be.
So
And
good.
that's how I have to show up to work. Some days some days it can be very challenging. When I
Mhm.
walk in here, it's like I know what it's about to happen today. It's going to get crazy. I'm gonna have to really watch myself and be like, okay, just calm down. It's gonna work out. Don't show too much emotion. I'm an emotional person. It's gonna come out at some point. Um,
Yeah,
but at the same time, that's what makes us human. Our emotions
I
is
love
what
it.
makes us human, and it's life. There's nothing we can really do about it. Just to learn how to control them in the best ways we can.
1,000%, man. All right, let's talk a little bit about your role. What's a sales support manager do? We have a lot of like CEOs and VPs of different things on here, and founders, and tech startups and biological companies. I was excited to see that Ani had connected with David Ringer, who was on the show a couple years ago, to get you on here from Bex because I think we take for granted the support stuff and the leadership that goes into support and logistics that make this industry work. So I'm excited to dive in. What's your role entail?
Yeah. So, first off, I like to preface that with this role in sales support, we do a lot of logistics. We do a lot of shipping, making sure we get product A to its destination. Um, but I also like to say that shipping isn't the only thing that we do. And I feel like I'm very efficient in logistics, but I don't like to hang my hat on it because my first and foremost job to do is to service the customer and make
Mhm.
sure that they are taken care of, then everything else falls in place. So, like any agricultural job, they're all very seasonal. I mean, everyone's got their busy seasons. They're not always constantly busy, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah,
But I start the year out in the calendar year in August. That's when our fiscal year starts, and at that point, we start working on getting early orders on. And dealers are putting orders on for the rest of the year. This time, they're putting wheat, corn, soybean, any small seeds they might need. They're getting all that put on order. So we're just kind of overseeing things like that, making sure some things aren't too out of whack. We start seeing way too many orders go on, then we start kind of questioning, all right, what are we doing? I mean, I'm all about the growth, but I'm also about being realistic on what we're doing
hmm yeah,
because we have to manage that supply.
yeah,
So then from that point on, we'll start getting some harvest beans coming into the facility here, and then they'll start processing. And by
sure.
the time they start processing those beans for us to try to get to the field, that brings us to about November timeframe, and we'll be just shipping beans, getting them out the door. Again, going back and watching that orders are where they should be.
hmm
Really diving into that or trying to dive into the order integrity so we're not uh, conditioning and treating and packaging too much product that we aren't going to sell.
hmm
Not that big of a deal when you get to that time of the season because there's a long season to go behind it. We're going to get it out one way or another. But then we start turning into moving more of our corn. And that's where it gets to be a little bit more challenging because
Sure.
we process corn in four other sites. So to be able to meet the needs of my customers, I am looking at all these other locations to see where corn is sitting to be able to get it into one central location so I can get it back out to the customer.
Yeah.
So that takes up a lot of the role. We'll end up doing that with soybeans too, but there's a little margin for error on that, not too much, but want to make sure that we're being as lean as possible, but also being able to take care of the customer as soon as they call.
Yeah. Wow.
During that time, that'll take us really through the time frame we're in now. So once March hits, it is go time,
Yeah.
especially
This is
with
like
the
your
weather.
Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. The weather that we've been having in central Illinois right now, these warm spells, I mean, it's got farmers just itching. Like, we got to
Mhm.
do something. We got to do something. But I'm in my seat saying, okay, I think we need to calm it down a little bit. We need to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
There is some weather coming. Maybe let's wait till after Easter,
Right,
so
right.
we're not making decisions that are too emotionally driven,
Yeah.
when they should be more factual, scientific. Is the ground actually fit, or do you think it's fit to go?
Sure,
Kind of
sure.
thing.
It's, that's so funny because guys are just ready to rock, right? I mean, as soon as
Oh
it's
yeah,
enough, it's like kid in the candy store. I wanna get out there. I wanna get it in. I wanna
yeah,
get it early, all the things, but it's like, I mean, we're
yep.
s like, it was I'm in North Carolina, man. It was 38 degrees here last night. Like, we're not out of the danger of frost.
Oh, absolutely. On Monday last week, it was it was probably in the 20s with blizzard like conditions. It was
Yeah,
snowing. I couldn't look out the window and see like
yeah,
across the field right at the house. Like,
yeah,
could not see anything. It's like
yep,
this is kind of
yeah. Yeah,
redundant.
last weekend, I was in Minneapolis for, my daughter had a volleyball tournament, and we were in the Twin Cities for the whole weekend, and, we didn't know if we were gonna get to fly home because Sunday, just huge blizzard, came in
Yep.
Saturday night, snowed, I don't know, 12 inches or something like that in the Twin Cities, so, and
Yeah.
we were lucky. We
Yeah.
got out of there. So, but,
Absolutely.
it was nothing. You couldn't see anything anywhere, so,
Nope, and
um,
then by the
that's
end of
all.
the week, it was 80 degrees.
Yeah, yeah. I saw people getting flooded out because of all the snow. It's wild.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, but you're at the center of that conversation. I didn't realize that going into this. Like, so you're at this you're the guy who kinda says like, "Ho, ho, ho," like, we gotta put the brakes on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we end up with replant issues and all kinds of other things.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, we put in our opinion on, "Hey, maybe we should or shouldn't do this," kinda maybe persuade them one way or another, but in the end,
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be the customer decision whether they wanna do that or not.
yeah,
Um, just I'm no expert, but I also know that maybe I know we need to possibly wait a little bit.
for sure. What, um where did they I wanted you to go back to, like, your ag ed background, and how did you
Yeah.
find yourself into this role? Because the dream was to be an ag teacher,
Yeah.
and here you are an operations manager.
Yep. I mean, in operations and in leadership in general, you have to be able to teach someone. You have to understand how somebody understands. You got to know how they operate, and
Mhm,
that's one thing I like to figure out. I like to facilitate. Um, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we rolled out a new ordering system within the company, and it was all in house made. Beck's they developed it themselves, and we were training people weekly on how to use our system, like walking people through how to put orders on, how to reconcile accounts, um, just over the phone. We also have a couple tools we can use if need be. We can kind of remote in and help them that way too. But uh, the best way to teach guys in the field to basically manage their inventory, use Boss, the part of being a dealer is getting in front of them. Whether you get them into the office as a group setting and facilitate in front of them, or what's even more impactful is when you leave the office and you go sit in their office. You go sit right next to them and help them walk through any issues they might have, or just to jumpstart it and get it started. Everyone learns differently. Some people uh, learn by listening, some people learn by watching. Some people learn by doing. I mean, you got to meet that person where they are. And being a leader, you
100%.
have
I
to
love it.
figure out how people operate. And if you can't figure that out, you're not going to be able to meet them where they are and to help them be successful.
That is really insightful. That is a way bigger answer and better answer than I thought that I was gonna get on that question, so I like it because, I mean, at the end of the day, man, it comes out you got a lot of training, you got a lot of people that you're either teaching about what's going on or teaching them how to run a system or teaching I mean, so your ag ed background fully, and operationally actually plays into the work that you do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yep. I mean, everyone's a teacher one way or another.
Yeah.
You got to look at it from a different point of view,
Yeah. I
and
love
they
it.
can teach you the good things and the bad things. I've
Isn't that
been
the
through I've
truth?
been through situations where I've worked with people that, I mean, they've taught me some great things that I still use today, but I've also watched other people do things. It's like, that's not how we need to do this. And
Mhm,
those are also your very insightful takeaways of be careful about what you do and make sure you're doing it the right way.
mm. Yeah. So good, man. So good. What would you say has been one of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome, in this role in the last decade?
Oh, just the constant change. You know, um, everything's always changing. Agriculture is always changing, especially with the way everything is developing and they're adding more protection. And there's all these different traits and what you can spray on this product and spray on that product. And basically, the keeping up with the times. That's probably one of the most challenging uh, things that we face is it's constant learning. You're always having to learn something new because we're gonna at some point or another you're gonna advise somebody how they need to handle a situation.
Mhm. Yeah. Super good. I like it. What's been one of your biggest wins?
Biggest wins.
Putting it on
Well,
on the spot this morning, seeing how
that
those
is
old
that
FFAs
is because
back
I
then.
think of myself as a pretty humble person, and
Mhm.
like they're not my wins.
Sure.
They're my team's wins. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it's the team that makes everybody win. I can guide them to where they need to go, but I'm not the number one person that makes it happen.
Yeah.
Um, I think a good win for me and my team is when we get to a point of the season when it gets to be about the end of March, beginning of April timeframe, and we're in a good position. We feel well about where we're at. Um, Dealers are in a good position. We're not getting a bunch of questions about where's this and where's that. Why don't we have this yet? Um, so yeah, I think that doesn't, I don't know, it really answers your question, but
Well, it does, right? I mean, it's and I love it, and spoken like a true intentional leader. So when you're, most people who come at it, when I ask that question, I've asked that question a lot on the show over the years, and most will generally deflect to their team, right? It's a team win, or it's a business win, or the farmer won, or something like that, and that's, like we have a hard time. I'll be honest, like we have a hard time taking credit for the work that we do,
yeah,
and it's kind of the way we're raised, and that's kind of the culture of ag, and I like it, and but I also, like, I want people to know that it's okay that you to win.
yeah, yep,
We have challenges, and we talk a lot about challenges. If you look at the headlines, right, around ag, it's like it's largely negative, man. I mean, it's just, and so, like, I want them to put people on a pedestal a little bit and say, hey, like, what have you done to win? What have you done to help your people? What have
right,
you done to help your customer? Because that's inspiring. We need to hear some good stuff too.
yeah.
So,
And I mean, at Bex, it's you don't do the bare minimum. You just don't. You could probably get by with doing the bare minimum, but if you're doing the bare minimum, everyone else is taking extra step forward.
sure.
So,
Yep.
you got to take the extra step to help the customer meet them where they are.
Yep.
Do whatever you can to help them be successful. Because in the end, that's why we're here. We're here to help farmers succeed.
Would you say that's really infused into the culture?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Hmm.
especially within the department that I'm in, because we are full um, customer facing. Everything we do is customer facing, and really for us, our customer is most likely always the dealer, but sometimes it does go down to that actual customer of theirs.
Yeah. Yep. What about communication within the team? Like,
Yeah,
what I'm curious, like, you're handling a lot of detail.
yeah.
So how do you guys keep it all straight? I mean, is this just email thread after email thread, or like, do you have some sort of software to help keep your stuff straight, or what's the
Um, well, we could talk about communication, like just like dispatching and whatnot. That
Mhm.
there's a whole bunch of different things we could go down a rabbit hole with this one, but we have some processes in play within the company that we're trying to utilize right now. It
Mhm.
doesn't fit all of our needs. We're still trying to make sure that we're getting all those facets taken care of as this program develops. Uh, but to be completely honest with you, I'm pretty old school when it comes to this. and we have a desk calendar on the back counter. It's like,
Wow.
"Hey, this is where you're going. Write it in pencil. This is where we're going and make your paperwork." Um,
Insane. Yeah.
they're really trying to get us away from it, and I'm doing the best that I can to use
Yeah.
the new system, but it also doesn't have all of our facets that we need yet
Mhm.
programmed into it. So for the interim, the back counter calendar is the Bible right now
Yeah. What
at this.
okay, so that makes sense. I mean, I mean, if it's effective, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh yeah.
Also, I mean, there's lots of innovations and things coming our way. Are you guys seeing any implementation or time savings opportunities from like AI from a on the logistics end?
Logistics side, maybe not so much. It's more of just a transparency kind of thing,
Mm,
where we can see like, hey, there's empty miles here. What can we do to maximize that?
okay.
To be able to hit those indicators, those KPIs that we want to get to
Yeah.
make sure that we are getting the best bang for our fuel charges right now.
Yeah. 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 That's yeah. So so you're operating or optimizing for your routes for
Right.
delivery, right? So I'm just
Yeah.
making sure we're not sending out half loaded trucks when we could do a fully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But really, any other kind of communication thing within our team, I mean, we sit really close to each other. So
Mhm.
all I got to do is just basically say it out loud and like everyone hear that. This is what we got to do this direction. Or I also am kind of guilty of just hitting the forward button and putting FYI
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and like, okay, guys, you need to read what I'm telling you.
Make
So
sure we
make
email.
sure you check that one.
So good. I love it. Good stuff, man. Cool. What's something that happens over the course of your day or week or month that probably nobody would think about, but that's like really essential to what you do? Like we would never go about thinking like, oh yeah, this is like a really important part, but it's something that impacts you.
Just one, my interactions with the customer, to
Mm,
the dealer, making sure that I'm meeting their needs and that even if I'm having a bad day or things are really busy in the office, like I don't come off brash.
yeah.
Um, to to be honest, I'm a very blunt person, and
Mhm.
sometimes my bluntness comes off a little brash, a little harsh. Maybe sometimes I have to remind myself to kind of pull that back, especially if it's someone who I don't know. But if it's somebody that I do know that I have the relationship with, I'm going to be pretty straightforward with you.
You bet. Yeah.
Someone who I might not have that relationship with, I also kind of just try to pull it back a little bit. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to make that first impression. It's like, man, this guy's kind of a jerk to work with.
Yeah.
But
Do you
in the
just
end, in the
is
end, it doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of my
yeah,
personality.
yeah. Do you, I mean, don't you, I mean, do we just think maybe people are a little bit too easy to offend these
Uh,
days?
uh, yeah, yeah. Sometimes we just need to maybe read face value a little bit. Like, hey, he's just telling me this. Just take it for what it is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm also guilty of diving into an email that someone sent me that said, oh, maybe I'm misinterpreting this the wrong way. I'm not taking it as face value to you. So
Yeah.
I, I'm guilty of that.
Dude, I mean, so my wife and I merged our homes starting 7 years ago, officially, got married 5 years ago uh, and then began the process of, merging two families, right? And six kids. And so and then we merged our businesses. So this has been like the ultimate merger of our lifestyles and livelihood.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like I can speak to my kids one way because they just grew up hearing me bark orders. And like, it's like when dad says do something, you go do it. And that's the way that I was raised. And I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Right? But now I have 3 more and now they're by the way, they're adult children, right? So they're young, they're 20 and 22 and 24. So, like, they're not used to taking orders.
Right.
Didn't grow up with their dad in the house, and it's certainly not one like me. And so and so, sometimes it's like, "This guy's a real jackass," you know? Like, what is wrong with him?
It,
And so I gotta soften my approach, and
yep.
we gotta warm it up a little bit, we
Yeah.
gotta take it down a notch and then kinda, all right, we
Yeah.
get to the same outcome, I guess, but good God, I mean, it just takes longer.
It's all about the presentation too. I mean, you can
Yeah,
get your point across, but it makes sure the presentation is where it needs to be. Because there's people that I work with that I can just go right out
yeah,
blunt
yep,
with it, And there's other people, it's like, okay, I have to be a little bit of a wordsmith here and use the correct words that are not aggressive,
Yeah.
that are a little bit more positive. And then normally you get your message conveyed so much easier.
Yeah, I think for me, that's been one of my biggest lessons in being an intentional leader because I've always led small teams. So, never big, huge teams where I have a lot and everybody gets super close and we just, we get along. But yeah, I mean, that's been probably my biggest weak spot as a leader as it comes to people management is slowing down, thinking about the words that are about to come out, you know,
Yep.
and and making sure that they're more effective so that I don't create rework for myself down the road. That's an intentional leadership lesson right there.
Yeah. Or it's even to the fact that, okay, I did this. Now they think that they're going to do it. And I don't want them acting the way that I did in this situation. So, guys, take a lesson from this guy. Do
Yep.
not do that.
Yeah. But, you walk a fine line too, because you go too far, now you're a pushover,
Yep.
right? Now nobody
Yep.
respects you. And so that's the nuance that I think the concept of intentional leadership brings us to think about is, how do you do that without getting stuck in your head? Because you can't, I mean, you can't spend all your time thinking about wordsmithing just so you don't torque somebody off. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. There
Yeah.
at times it's like you just got to let it fly. You
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
to let it go.
There's a little bit of time for letting it go, and then there's a little time for that, that goose fraba, kind of just calm it down, right?
Yeah. It's all situational and I think it all depends on what you want the outcome to be.
I think, so this will lead us into the last question here, which is, at the end of the day, what that requires is presence, right? I mean, you have to be aware
Hmm.
of where you are, who you're with, and be there enough, not distracted on your phone and all the other things, paying too much attention to all the other things that we have going on, and actually be there with that person. How do you, I mean, especially in the stressful times, like how do you keep your energy up? How do you keep your focus? How does that work in your world?
Um, well, to keep the energy up, I think sometimes I don't want to call it trauma bonding, but there's that whole like, oh gosh, we are about our brains are about to explode, but we're all in this together. We all feel the
Yeah,
same way right now.
I love it.
Um, so there's that portion of it. I use the word trauma bonding because I'm actually going through a almost 2 year long ag leadership program through
Mm,
this like there's one here in Illinois. It's called Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation,
okay.
and 2 weeks ago we were in Washington D.C. For a whole week for our seminar, and we were trying to get home on a Friday afternoon, and there's all of a sudden this ground stop just gets put on Dulles, Reagan, and Baltimore,
Mm.
and everything just comes to a halt. Like we just see flights just start to get delayed, canceled, and
Oh,
I'm
no.
trying to make a connection into a smaller airport. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting out of here, and
Yeah,
like you can't get an answer from any like American Airline rep or United rep. No one's giving us anything, and it makes it even more frustrating. It's like, okay, you have my bags. Now do I get my bag? Do you keep my bag? Kind of
mm,
things. Our group, our cohort went through a trauma bonding there. It's like, we're just trying to get out of this place so we can go home.
yeah,
So that's why I
yeah.
use that term there. But
Well, it's those experiences that kind of bring us together. I think that's one of the things
oh,
that
absolutely.
we like in ag. To be honest, is we all go through tough times and challenging seasons and challenging situations. We're going through one right now, quite frankly, as an industry that I personally believe will lead to a redefinition of our North Star as an industry. Um, 'Cause I mean, kinda in many ways, we sort of have lost our way a little bit, and, it's been about just getting bigger,
Yeah,
and it is about serving the farmer. I believe that's still true. Also, to what end? Like, for what for? Right? Like, what is it that and that's where, like, when we were coming up through FFA, it was always about feed the world, right? Come work for an ag company and do your part,
yeah,
feed the world, and we're doing that. But, we're no longer the United States is no longer the low cost producer globally speaking. And so now we got
yeah,
to redefine like what does intentional leadership look like on a national level for our work in ag. So
yeah.
anyway,
Our team also. we're pretty open with each other, pretty
Okay.
open and honest. Like,
Yeah.
well, the comments fly. I mean, if someone has a comment about something, they're most likely going to say it. So, I mean, we have the humor and the relationships between each other that there could be an insult or two that goes
Mhm.
in place there. But that's just how that's some people's love language too.
Yeah.
It shows you that shows them that you actually care about them and whatnot. So that we use that kind of a mechanism to get past some of this stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are in the trenches getting through it together
Yeah.
and taking care of each other. So it's
I mean, I
good,
don't
man.
wanna work at a place where it's boring. Like, there's always something going on that
Yeah.
we'll make fun at some situation to make it more entertaining for us.
Find a way to get it through. Find a way to
Oh,
get
yeah.
it. Cool. Hey, man, I really appreciate you doing this. You got any book recs or podcasts that you like that you think people should take a look at?
Um, a couple I'm not a reader, let's just put that out there. I have these 2 books I'm gonna tell you about because they're 2 books I had to read. One of them is called Extreme Ownership. If
Okay.
you haven't read that one before, that's worth your time. We do about a 6-month program at Beck's.
Mhm.
That's we call it boot camp, and
Cool.
that's one of the books that you read during that time. So that's a good one. The most influential thing I took away from that book was there's a chapter in it where they talk about leading up the chain, but also
Mhm.
leading down the chain because you have to do both ways, no matter what kind of management role you're in. I'm a middle manager, so I have to lead my team up, but there's also times that I got to lead back down to see the things that are going on. So
Yeah.
that's a good one. Another book that I just recently read through my ag leadership class was called The Trust Gap, Closing the Trust Gap.
Mhm.
If you struggle with like trusting your team, it's worth it because it goes into talking about you have your value proposition, but you also need to have a proposition as well. So
Yeah.
just a little foresight into that book.
Beautiful, man. Good stuff. I love it. I love the recommendations. Extreme Ownership has been the number one, probably most recommended book, but I don't think we've had the Trust Gap yet.
Yeah.
So we will link that up in the Jericho resource library. Jericho is our internal AI powered performance management system. And what's kind of cool, you guys can go check this out. It's at askjericho.com/try and spend 5 minutes with it, and it will spit you out in your email a beautifully written personal playbook to go out and kick butt and be more intentional as a leader. So it's a cool tool that we've developed for our team, and you can try it for free. So head on over, askjericho.com/try. Lane, this has been a pleasure. Been cool to get to know you. Thanks for doing the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here.